Hi, I'm Dan O'Connor, and it's time for Mail Call. Here's our questions for the day. Question number 1. Dan, do you have any advice on how to handle the pressure from a car or other commission salesman and communicate confidence and assertiveness in the situation? This is like a Makalana Hana Kwanzaa Missed a Miracle, because this is one of my favorite tactics of all time, and it works great with the car salesperson or with with children who try to wear you down. People have trouble believing it because of its simplicity. Once you use it, you will be a believer. Hallelujah. It is the that may be but with the broken record. The that may be but, along with a broken record, goes like this. When you tell someone, for example, my friend who told the realtor when he asked her, so have you decided on a listing price? And she said, yes, I have. As I mentioned before, I've decided 310. He's then going to start saying things like, I'm telling you, that's just, you're not going to be able to sell your house at 310 in the time frame that you want to sell it in. Or, that's just going to be, I don't know if I can do it for that. Or, do you remember what we talked about? 310, I've run all of the comps and that's just not the price that houses around here are going for. Well, that may be, but I've decided on a final listing price of 310. The second time you say it, people will be like, okay, and then they'll object again. And by the third time when you say, well, that may be, but I've decided on a final listing price of 310, they'll be like, well, that may be, but I've decided on a final listing price. Whatever. And you'll be like, thank you. Because it's so much easier. Use that and you'll really like it. For example, when you're at the car dealership, you sit down with the salesperson and they say, all right, let me help you out here. I'm going to make a list of the reasons why you should buy this car and reasons why you shouldn't buy this car. They write down here why you should. And then, so tell me why you think you shouldn't. And then you're stumped going, I've been here now 13 hours and you have not even given me a ham sandwich. Although you've given me 3 tabs. I don't even know where you got tabs. I don't know that they have made them since 1981. But that's all I've had today, and you've kept me here like a prisoner. I think my hair has grown longer, not just on my head. I need to get out of here. I can't think of what reasons I have not to buy this car. Probably because my other car has rusted to death out in the parking lot while I've been in here negotiating with you. I just need to get a car and drive away. I need to see my kids. It's the holiday season. Okay. So if you're at that point, there comes a point where you just want to go. And so your mind has turned into jello and you can't think of why not to buy that car. And they'll say things like, well, seems like there isn't a reason not to buy this car. If you came in there with an agenda, we always want to go into situations like that with an agenda and we want to stay on message. Like you are Sarah Palin looking to schedule a lunch date with your neighbor Putin, just across the yard. You want to stay on message. I don't know if you remember, she used to write things down. I'm sure, I'm well aware she's not the only one. Many politicians do this, but she was one of those who always got caught. She'd write things down on the bottom of her shoe and then she'd take, off her shoe while she's in an interview and the, Dr. Scholl's would fall off and they'd take pictures of her appearing to be what would look like sniffing her shoe. And then, she would write it on the inside of her underwear, it's elastic. And so while she's talking, she'd be looking down like this, and you can imagine the captions to those photos. And aside from that, which must have been very embarrassing for her, her ability to stay on message, I actually think she raised the bar. Since then, I don't know if you guys have seen I don't know if you have seen the Huffler. What I don't know who she is. I'm going to run it here. Put a clip up of one of the ladies in Georgia who's running for office. Now, I am not partisan. I just think these days there are many more foolish things occurring in one of the parties, and she's one of the foolish things that is occurring. I don't know who put her where she is, but when she says things, here's what she does. She comes out and she says, well, I don't know what your question was. Now, look, something interesting about her. It is so difficult. She's not an experienced habitual liar, which doesn't mean a whole lot. I mean, maybe she's never had reason to lie in her life. She just goes around getting what she wants and doing things and not being really ashamed of it, you know? But it is obvious when you look at her that she's not accustomed to lying as frequently as she is here, and that she is lying here because her mouth has trouble saying the words. They're so ridiculous. You know, when she's saying these words, she obviously, by the way, thought she'd take a little cornucopia of benzos. And so she's kind of looking like this all night long. And in addition to that, she couldn't get out the words that she was saying with a straight face. You will notice some people will do that when they are telling what they know to be lies and they're not used to it. I mean, some people, they can lie and lie and lie and lie and lie and pass lie detector tests because to them, what's the difference between a lie and the truth? It's words coming out of your mouth, and they're so used to telling it, it creates no biochemical reaction anymore. But she's not that case. Her mouth can hardly say it. And then when she's all done, here's my point. When she's all done with no matter what she says, she will, no matter what she's asked, she will say what she came out there to say. Well, I don't know about what you just said, but I'm fighting here for our election rights because we got to get to the bottom. There's 250 open cases right now, and somebody's got to get to the bottom of it all. I mean, it's Kelly Loeffler. Oh my God. Oh my God. I mean, God bless her. And she may win. You know, I'm not in Georgia. I do not know what the needs of Georgians are. I would find it difficult to believe that anybody could get their needs met with Kelly Loeffler. And I also find it, while we're on the point, we're on the subject, I'm on the subject, I'd like to note how at least she showed up. I have to say that, you know, good for you, Kelly. That lady has guts because she showed up and she must know how horrible she was. Once she stood up there, she obviously only had like, you know, a stocking stuffer full of responses, but she knew them and she stayed on them. She stayed on message like she was Sarah Palin, you know, looking for to play some croquet with Putin. She thought Putin was actually Putin, and so she invited him over for croquet, and it was a big disaster, especially because she waited outside for him she thought walked over from his house. Sarah. Anyway, that said, she was the first mistress of staying on message, and Kelly Loeffler is mistress number 2, mistress of the South, because God bless her, she knew she was lying. She said it anyway. And I'm saying that as I'm not partisan. I do not know what the issues were, but when I'm speaking like this too, and then I say, well, you know, happy holidays here from the lovely Fargo, North Dakota. I'm not in Fargo, North Dakota because my mouth can't even say Fargo, North Dakota. And so she says whatever they ask her, she stays on message. Her lips get it out however they have to, and then she does this. Because that's her job. She's out there to say what she has to say and then smile. I also found it interesting and in bad form that, do you notice how she deliberately combed her hair so that as she stood out there, she would not have to see her opponent as she said these ridiculous things about him, again telling me that she's not used to lying and that she was lying because she couldn't even look at him. She created a physical barrier with her inappropriate, by the way, hairdo, so that she didn't even have to look at him, and she never did. She just stood there and stared forward into the camera and smiled as best she could, you know. I think she had, you know, have you ever seen a mannequin and how they stand up there? You know, because mannequins, you know, they're always on their tippy toes. They should fall over, you know, according to the laws of the universe, many of them, but they don't because they have that stand that goes on the floor and then like a big rod that goes up their butt. I think they used that to prop up Kelly Loeffler. Is that her name? I think she had one of those, well, for many reasons, which this is a family show, so we don't need to get into them. But she stayed on message. And so the point is, when you go into a car dealership, your message, if it is I'm just looking today and I'm going to make my decision tomorrow. Or I know exactly the car I want. I know the price that I'm willing to pay for it and that I can get it for. So let's just say that that's the Toyota Corolla CX edition for $28,000. Okay. So I come in there and I say, hey, well, I've already done a lot of looking and I've decided that, see that one in the showroom floor right there, that Toyota Corolla SR CX Futu with the 20 Hoochie Hama Mamas? I'd like to take that home for $28,000. And if the salesperson says, oh, that's our limited edition model, so that's going to be a little bit more. Well, that may be, but the most I'm willing to pay is $28,000 for that car. Well, I might be able to give you something similar in the back if you're willing to take a look at it. But that one I'd have to ask my manager about. Well, that may be, but the most I'm willing to pay is $28,000 for that car today. Okay, well, you really should consider a clear coat, and that's only another $1,500 on top of that. But then you'll be protected from the salts that would otherwise eat away at your Corolla. Well, that may be, but I'm only willing to pay $28,000 for that car, taking it home today. And if I can't get that, I'm going to go someplace else where I can. Well, you can't get that anywhere for $28,000. That may be, but I'm here today to get that car for $28,000. So I'm either going to get that or I'm going to go someplace else where I will. And they'll know right away. Rats, this one's been trained. Ugh, just give her the Toyota Corolla. Come on, get it out. Get the clear coat out. All it is some pledge, microfiber cloth, clear coat it up and down, knock yourself out. So remember, go in with an agenda. That includes whether you're going in to talk to your children, to talk to your spouse. Now, by the way, of course, when we are with our family, it gets very obnoxious when we just decide to use the broken record and say, well, I do that with Eamon on purpose because I like being kind of obnoxious with him sometimes. But we can stay on message with our family without using word for word every specific word that I just used a moment ago. Because if I'm talking to a salesman or another negotiator or someone who's trying to bully me or pressure me or intimidate me into going along with their way of thinking and I don't want to, my realtor, by the way, remember danger phrase realtor, it's realtor. If I don't know why people make the mistake a lot, but if I'm with someone like that, a professional salesman, I do want to specifically use a verbatim broken record. Well, that may be, John, but today I'm either getting that Toyota for 28 or I'm going home. Well, that may be, John, but today I'm either getting that Toyota for 28 or I'm going home. Well, again, John, that may be so, but today I'm either getting that for 28,000 or I'm going home. When you do it that way, they'll be like, oh God, did you go to that Tom Hopkins seminar? Okay, we got a Tommy boy. Get in the car. Let's get out of here. Next. Get them to sign the paperwork. They're not even starved half to death. Do you know that they actually purposely starve you at car dealerships so that by the end of the day you're like delirious with hunger and thirst? And so you'll just do anything to get out of there and be able to drive to the nearest fast food joint and stuff your face with some, sugar before you have a hypoglycemic diabetic shock syndrome stroke. Go to a Tom Hopkins seminar before you buy a car. You'll get a good deal. Okay, that's that one. Next question. I'm sorry, Tammy Loeffler. Okay. How do you handle pessimistic comments from family members at holidays? Well,